Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're heading into a subterranean world that is so impossibly huge, it literally has its own weather system and its own clouds. Seriously, imagine stepping into an underground realm so massive it makes you feel like an absolute bug. We're exploring Doong in Vietnam, a natural wonder that completely flips everything we thought we knew about the world right beneath our feet. Now, it's kind of mind-blowing to think about, but this massive, self-sustaining ecosystem, which is the largest cave on Earth, was completely unknown to humanity until it was fully explored just over a decade ago, in 2009. I mean, for millions of years, while whole civilizations were rising and falling up on the surface, this giant hidden world just sat silently in the dark. It really proves that our planet still has some massive secrets up its sleeve. To put this into perspective, let's talk about the sheer scale here. Doong contains 38.5 million cubic meters of space. That is so big that you could comfortably fit an entire 40-story skyscraper inside of it. Or, if you were feeling adventurous, you could literally fly a double-decker aircraft straight through its main passages. It's a scale that just almost completely breaks human imagination. Part 1. Carving the massive abyss. So how exactly does a 9-kilometer-long abyss get carved out of solid Earth? Well, we have to do a little geological time travel. The ground of Doong is made up of this calcium-rich limestone, formed way back 450 million years ago from the compressed shells and skeletons of ancient sea creatures. Then, fast forward to about 3 million years ago, and slightly acidic rainwater began seeping down into the Earth, slowly eating away at that limestone. Add in some powerful tectonic shifts that fractured the rock, and this relentless flow of water eventually hollowed out the masterpiece we're looking at today. The original explorers actually said that if a normal cave is like a neighborhood, then Doong is a massive city. And honestly, just getting to this underground city is a huge expedition all on its own. First, you have to endure this grueling 9-hour trek straight through dense jungle. And that just gets you to the front door, N Cave. Now, N Cave is actually the third largest cave in the world by itself, with ceilings that are 145 meters high. During flood seasons, there's roaring water surging right through it. You have to navigate that massive flooded chamber and literally camp overnight just to reach the entrance of Doong. Part 2. Oddities in the dark. All right, so as we descend deeper into the pitch black, things start getting weird. We run into these strange phenomena that totally challenge our understanding of biology and geology. It actually brings up a pretty bizarre question, one you've probably never asked yourself. Can a rock actually move on its own? Wildly enough, the answer is yes. Deep down in the cave, we find what are known as phytokarst formations. Because they're shaped by both biology, like the growth of algae and mosses, and the geological processes of calcium carbonate, they behave almost like semi-living organisms. They look like these little stone hands reaching out from the rock, literally growing and bending toward whatever faint, tiny traces of sunlight they can sense. Pushing even further into an immense section that's called the Hope and Vision Passage, we stumble upon an absolute giant. Water has been dripping from a staggering 170-meter-high ceiling for an unbelievable 800,000 years, just depositing minerals one drop at a time. And the result of all that patience? The world's tallest stalagmite, towering 80 meters straight up into the cavern air. But you know what's truly fascinating? It's the life that actually thrives down here in total blackness. Survival in this environment demands some pretty extreme adaptations. Explorers have found fish swimming in these subterranean pools that have completely lost their eyes, living right alongside entirely blind crickets. Since sight is completely useless, their other senses have just become hyper-tuned. Oh, and the cave walls, they actually hide these deadly traps. They're cave worms that produce this glowing, bioluminescent blue-green light from their tails. They use it to lure flying insects straight into their sticky, hanging threads. And the cave floor has its own weird treasures. Scattered around, you'll find these super rare cave pearls. Now, usually cave pearls are tiny, maybe a centimeter across. But in Doong, the extreme age of the cave has allowed layers of minerals to slowly build up around grains of sand over hundreds and hundreds of years. So here, you get these perfectly spherical pearls that are actually as large as tennis balls. Part 3. The Underground Rainforest. Okay, moving on. The contrast here is just breathtaking. You go from this barren, lightless void to a vibrant, living forest. Because the cave roof collapsed at the intersection of two major fault lines, creating what's known as a Doong, an entirely new ecosystem was able to just take root, a dizzying 252 meters below the surface of the Earth. It is such a surreal experience to be standing deep inside a cave and looking up at a towering green canopy. And we're not just talking about a few stray ferns here. This is a thriving, full-blown jungle. It's nourished by incredibly fertile soil, which is largely made of million-year-old bat guano. Biologists have found a localized pocket of intense biodiversity down here. Over 200 species of plants and nearly 60 species of animals are flourishing right now, hundreds of meters underground. Of course, this isolated ecosystem forces some really incredible adaptations. To compete for that single column of sunlight shining down through the collapsed roof, trees here grow impossibly thin, but they tower 40 to 50 meters high just to reach the light. And the monkeys are even more surprising. Primates like red-shanked gooks, which normally stick to the high canopy on the surface, actually climb down into the dark cave to hunt, catching and smashing snails on the rocks. And right alongside them in the thick underground brush, you've got snakes and massive centipedes slithering around. Part 4. Unlocking Ancient Mysteries. So, on the final leg of this journey, explorers have to navigate through water-filled passages, going right past 500-year-old deer bones and wading across this breathtaking jade-green lake. All of that leads up to the final challenge, scaling a massive 80-meter karst wall that's fittingly called the Great Wall of Vietnam. But just before the exit, the cave gives up one last secret, embedded directly into the rock, which happens to be the oldest limestone in Southeast Asia at over 400 million years old. Explorers found an unidentified, fossilized sea creature. It's this ghostly remnant of an ancient ocean floor that was there long before the cave even existed. To solve this ancient mystery, they actually used modern tech. By uploading a photo of the fossil to an AI-equipped browser and running some image recognition, they nailed down exactly what it was. It was a tetracorella. That's an extinct carnivorous sea creature with tentacles that vanished from the Earth roughly 300 million years ago. Seeing a 300-million-year-old creature fossilized deep inside an underground jungle leaves us with a pretty profound, maybe even haunting realization. I mean, think about it. If a cave vast enough to swallow skyscrapers, complete with its own clouds, rivers, and a thriving rainforest, managed to stay completely hidden from humanity until 2009, what other breathtaking, world-altering secrets are just quietly waiting right beneath our feet? Thanks for exploring with me today. Stay curious and always keep questioning what's hiding in the dark.